Hey, what's up, my friend? So, let me share with you something that you might not be aware of, right? Every time you see this video, right, there is an introduction, right? And the way I start off would give you a good clue, right, to whether there is people in my house or not. So usually if I say, hey, what's up, my friend? That's usually when my parents are home, right? And they are outside and I don't want to go all crazy. But when I go, hey, what's up, my friend? Do you miss me? Do you love me? Right? I sure do. That's when you know I'm the only one at home, right? So at this point in time, right, I am the only one at home, right? And there is nobody. So usually I'm more vocal. I am more, how do you put it? I'm more open because there's no one around. There's no one to listen, right? I'm not afraid of, people, being affected by what I'm saying and stuff like that. So, yep, this is a good time, definitely, morning, right, to be doing this video. So anyway, back to today's market analysis. I think you'll like this one because it's something that I don't usually do, right? I take a blank chart, I plot in my support resistance levels, right, and then share with you my thought process on how I go from a blank chart to looking for a trading setup. So this is something that I believe would help a lot of traders because this technique works across any markets, any time frame, right? So definitely pay attention to this, right? And after which, right, I'm going to cover Bitcoin, right, a market that I believe one of the subscribers has been asking me to analyze. We'll also analyze Bitcoin, and towards the final part, I'm going to talk to you about how you should approach trading, right? Looking at it from a point system instead of P&L, instead of dollars and cents. So I believe that will help you overcome a lot of your psychological barriers that you're facing. So today's weekly market analysis is definitely content packed. Please watch the entire video, right? And with that, right, let's begin. Okay, so before I begin today's market analysis, right, I just want to, answer a question, right, or rather a series of questions that have been coming, right? Basically, traders asking me, hey, Rainer, what is your trading approach? How do you trade the markets? And for me personally, I am a trend follower. I look to write trends in the market, right? And by doing so, what I do is that I read the price section of the markets to write trends. Okay, so I have, certain, I would say, techniques to read the price action to get on board existing trends or trends about to emerge. So if you want to learn more, I would suggest going down to my website, tradingwithrainer.com, right? And just click this two button, right? Just download it, right? And you can receive these two trading guides, which really would explain what my trading methodology is all about, right? I am both a trend follower and a price action trader. So for example, you can just click download guide, enter your email like rainer@tradingwithrainer.com, and you click this blue button, okay? And right, I don't want to play this, right? And you would receive an email, right, with details on how to download your trading guide, right? Simple as it is, right? So if you want to learn more, that would be my suggestion. Okay, so just go down to the website, tradingwithrainer.com, and click on this two blue button, and you will get free access to these two trading guides. So moving on, right, back to this week's market analysis, right? I want to do things slightly different. Okay, what you see here is the chart of Euro Canadian, right? It is a blank chart, right? I purposely left it as it is, right? Because I've got question again from traders, right? As you can see, right, I treat my questions pretty seriously, right? The question is, how do I actually, like for example, the question to me is, hey Rainer, how do you actually, put on a blank chart and make your decisions from there? Or basically, what is my thought process whenever, a chart pops up on my screen? So this chart is a blank chart, right? So obviously, right, nothing has been done onto it. And this is, the first few things that I would do every time, when I see a blank chart. The first thing I'll do is to plot my support resistance level, right? Because this is so important. So since I primarily trade off the daily time frame, what I'll do first here is to draw my support resistance on the daily time frame. Okay, so let's see. I like to zoom out first, right, so I can see the big picture and to encompass more price action into this chart over here. So I'll start plotting out my support resistance, right, the most obvious levels to me. So for example, I see this over here, right? This is an area of resistance, right? I like to use black line for daily support resistance. I see another one over here. Okay, Possibly another one here. 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 Okay, I may be going a little fast, regarding how I actually draw these levels, but don't worry, right? In the near future, right? This is something that I've not done yet. I intend to create a video to teach you how to draw support resistance, right? For those of you who attended the trend trading bootcamp, right? This is something that should be familiar with you already. Okay, so basically these are some of the key levels that struck out immediately to me, right? You can see that the levels that I draw, they are nothing fancy, nothing complicating, right? Basically the levels that are obvious are basically the levels that I would mark out. Of course, there are some smaller levels, like for example, you may be wondering, hey Rainer, what about all this smaller levels, this one, maybe this one over here. Yeah, I can see them, right? But I don't necessarily want them marked out, because if not, my chart is going to look very cluttered with many lines. So usually what I do is to plot out the more obvious support resistance level. Okay, so for example, right, this over here, although I draw a line over here, I'm treating this as an area, like this area over here. Because you can see that over here, slightly above, there is another lows that could potentially become, previous support turn resistance, right? So I'm treating all this as areas on my chart. All right, but again, right, some of you could prefer, if you want to do, you can draw this green color, box to signify an area. But for me personally, I prefer to have lines on my chart. It just makes everything looks cleaner and less cluttered. But again, there is no right or wrong to this. If you want to draw boxes in, then fair enough, go ahead. Okay, so now that I've drawn my support resistance, right, what is next? Then the next question is, I want to ask myself, do I want to be shorting this market or looking to long? Or rather, what is the trend? So for those of you, again, right, who have been following me, right, who have read those two trading guides, you know that I would just use simply the 200 period moving average, right, again in black color. You click OK, and my simple filter is this, is that if price is below this 200 period moving average, I will look to short. Okay, very simple filter. Right, there is nothing magic about the 200 period moving average. There's nothing, fancy about this technique, right? This technique won't work all the time, right? Sometimes it may fail. Sometimes, the better choice would be to go long. But more often than not, if you follow this simple filter, you would be on the right side of the market more often than not, right? Trading is all about probabilities, right? So this is a simple filter I use, the 200 period moving average, right? Nothing magical about the 200, okay? But just that it is long enough, right? A long-term trend. It helps define the longer-term trend that puts me on the right side of the market. So now that price is below it, right, what should I be doing? Well, I'll be looking to short, right? So now you can see that clearly we have number one, trend is defined. Number two, we have actually drawn out our support resistance, right, to help you identify, areas of value. So the third thing now, what is the third thing? Well, looking at this chart, right, what do you expect price to do? Well, for me, right, I have nothing to do until, price approaches higher into this area of resistance, right? I clearly marked out this resistance. So this is, a level that I possibly want to trade from. And also you have this confluence of this 200 period moving average. So at this point in time, there is really nothing to do till price gets to this level over here. Okay, till price gets to this level. Or alternatively, right, for those of you who trade breakout, you can wait for price to consolidate, right, for a while at this area of support before taking a shot towards the breakdown. So you can see though how I'm actually planning my trades now once I've got my filter out, once I've got my support resistance drawn out. Right? You can see that the flow just pretty much comes naturally, right? You already know which are the levels, the areas that you want to trade from. And from there you can actually base potential trading decisions that you want to make. And also you know which are the areas that you don't want to trade from. Okay, so this is basically what I do on a week-to-week, day-to-day basis, right? This technique is simple, right? It can be applied across the 1 hour time frame if you want to. Let's say if I get out the 1 hour time frame, let me pull out the chart. Let's say we try Euro. How about? Let's try Euro Aussie, shall we? So this is the 1 hour time frame, the Euro Aussie. Again, same thing, right? I zoom out. And this time around, you can see that this structure of the market is pretty much, in a downtrend. So again, just marked out your, support resistance level. Okay, this over here. I see this. I see this. I see this. Okay, I'm not going to the exact details or what are the precise areas, but these are generally the ones that I'm looking at right now. Okay, then same thing, pull out your 200 MA, right? And from then on, right, you can see again, this time around, price come into this area of resistance, confluence of the 200 MA, and now we have this slight bounce over here, right? So you can see, this really makes your trading so much easier, right? Should you be long or short? Ask yourself. Well, what is the MA telling you? Right? Price is below it, you should be looking to short, right? Okay, so that's it, right? I want to, move on, right? I hope by now you have a understanding of how I actually look at the markets. So now I just want to, go through a chart that I've never gone through before. Okay? Never gone through before. So let me get it out. This over here, right? So this is TradingView. It's a website that actually, where you can actually, look at charts across, the stocks, future, bond markets, a lot of markets. So it's a good place to get free charts for those of you who don't want to pay for it. And the market that I'm looking at is actually Bitcoin, right? Someone asked me on YouTube, right? Hey, Rainer, can you analyze Bitcoin? So I've done a bit of research, and the symbol for Bitcoin, there are a few. You have the XBT, this one right over here, XBT against the USD. So this is something like, currency pair, right? This is the Bitcoin against the Japanese yen, Bitcoin against the British pound, and this is Bitcoin against the US dollar. I'm going with this. But this is not the only symbol, right? You can have other symbol, like for example the BTC as well. Whatever, whichever symbol that you prefer, go for it. So this again, right, is the Bitcoin daily time frame, and let's apply the same technique that you've learned earlier, right? Looking at this blank chart, what should you be doing? Okay, so let's see. First and foremost, get out your support resistance, right? Let me find it. Horizontal line, all right? Okay, let's see. Let's change this to black. Thicken the line a little bit so you can see clearly. Okay, so you can see, right? This is the area of support, right? I will draw this somewhere here. The next one over here, somewhere here I can see. So one thing immediately stands out is that this market tends to respect previous support turn resistance, right? Just look at this, right? This is an ascending triangle, right? When you see this pattern, right, usually it breaks up towards the upside. Why is that? Because you see a series of higher lows coming into resistance, right? And this is a sign telling you that the bulls are clearly in control. Because if the bears are in control, right, these higher lows shouldn't happen, because the bears would clearly try to push price lower with greater selling pressure. But clearly they couldn't. And in fact, the bulls are the one in control, as they can push price higher, 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 and even into resistance, they can still hold around this level. So this is definitely a strength from the buyers. So price broke out of it, came back. Where did it retest, right? Back towards this area of previous resistance turn support, right? Same thing over here, right? Price rallied all the way. This is your area of resistance. Price broke out of it, got parabolic, came back, retest where? Previous resistance turn support, right? So this is definitely something that strikes out to me, right, for this chart. So let's see. This over here, this is the all-time high, so this is definitely significant. And price, if you ask me, I would say there's a minor level over here. Okay, so yep, this is basically it, right? So you can see that for Bitcoin, right, these are the levels, right? So what about the moving average? So let's get it out to see whether you should be long or short. So let's see, where is the moving average? How about this? Okay, adjust the settings. Let's put it to 200. Style, how about, let's give me black. Okay, so you can see price is above the 200 period moving average. The support resistance areas are being drawn out. So what should you do? Well, a few things that should be, you can plan ahead. Number one, if price gets to this level or this level, these are potential trading opportunities to get long. Alternatively, right, if price does, what it has been doing previously, it comes to a key resistance level, starts to hover, higher higher lows into it, right? This could be a potential breakout opportunity. Right, so this is for Bitcoin, right? For those of you who trade it, I don't trade it personally, right? For those of you who trade it, I would say these are some of the levels that I would pay attention to if I'm trading Bitcoin. Okay, so yeah, okay. So before I end off, today's market analysis, I didn't really cover a lot of markets, but this time around it's very in depth, very technical, very how to step by step. So here's the thing, right? So before I end off, right, I just want you to really think about, right? Often traders, they have questions. Like for example, let me share with you this chart. This over here, right? So as you know, right, I'm actually short the dollar against the African rand, right, based on this false break over here, right? So some traders got short when it broke below this this key support area, right? So price went in your favor, and then can you imagine it started trading against you at this point in time, right? This candle over here at one point in time was actually very bullish, right? So a lot of times, right, what traders will do is that they see their profits evaporate, boom, gone. Right, and they have this mindset that, man, I better take something off the table right now, because if I don't take something off the table right now, I may give back all my open profits. All right, so this is their mindset, and so this is why most traders actually take profits as the market goes against them. Okay, so here's the thing, right? From a trend following perspective, if you are a trend follower and you do this and you exit your trade as the market retraces against you, what happens if the market collapses lower? You wouldn't be in this trend anymore. Or rather, maybe if you are still in this trend, you have a smaller position size going for you, right? And this really doesn't make sense because you're essentially cutting your winners. All right, so my suggestion is this, right? Is that I know you're facing this psychological difficulty, right? I think most traders are, not even, I mean, aside from trend followers, even if you're a swing trader, day trader, as you see the market go against you, right, you would face this struggle. So what do? My suggestion is this, right? Number one, right, focus on the point, I call this a point system, right? So you have a trading plan that tells you, which markets you're trading, your entries, your exits, your trade management. And if you follow your trading plan from A to Z, after the trade is over, give yourself 1 point. Okay? Your goal as a trader now is not to make money, right? You're not looking at your P&L. Don't look at it, right? After 100 trades, right, you want to have a point system of positive 100 points, meaning you follow your trading plan for the last 100 trades. If you break your rules or you don't follow your trading plan, that is minus 1 point. So net, what you're trying to aim for this time around is to gain a net positive of 100 points, right? To just follow your plan. And trust me, when you hit a positive 100 points, your P&L, more often than not, would reflect a positive sign, right? If you follow your trading plan. So look at it in terms of a point system, right? Try to accumulate more points, and your points is achieved by following your trading plan, not by looking at your P&L, and as you see it go against you, you quickly exit the trade, or you bend your rules, you widen your stop loss, you average into your losses, right? Ignore your P&L for now. Ignore it, right? Focus on this point system. Focus on following your trading plan, and every time you follow your trading plan, give yourself 1 point. When you accumulate 100 points, trust me, right? Your P&L more often than not would be a positive sign. Right, and even if it isn't a positive sign, right, you are basically many steps ahead, because now you can look back and see, right, even though that you follow your trading plan, clearly you're not making money. So you can actually refine your existing trading plan to make improvements on it going forward. So can you see that you are now on a path towards improving yourself as a trader, instead of going round and round in circle, unable to find out what is wrong or how you can improve, right? So adopt this point system, right? After 100 points, tell me, right, how you're doing. All right? So with that said, right, I've basically come to the end of today's market analysis. So let's do a recap, right? Number one, we talk about, today how to actually, analyze a blank chart. So basically what I do is plot out your support resistance, use the 200 MA as a trend filter. So we talk about the Euro Canadian, the Euro Aussie, and Bitcoin. Lastly, I tell you to adopt a point system in your trading, right? Every time you follow your trading plan, give yourself 1 point. Every time you break your rules, negative 1 point. Your goal as a trader now is to accumulate 100 points. Okay? So with that said, right, if you've enjoyed today's video, right, please hit the subscribe button and the like button below, so I know that, this is something that, clearly resonate with you and you find it useful. Okay, and if you have any questions, any feedback, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you soon.